Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Modern, and I had quite a challenge as a donation list. So Steven contacted me with a number of parameters. He wanted a Modern deck, and he wanted it to be between 3 and 500 tickets on Magic Online, and he gave me 3 decks from like the 2016-2017 era that he wanted me to pick one and update it. So the one that looked the most interesting to me was Boros Hate Bears, and he linked me to an article by Craig Wesco on TCGplayer.com from 2017 with this Boros Hate Bears deck that you see in front of you right now. I read the article, and it's funny how far Modern has come. Like, obviously, looking at this list, this would not hang in current day Modern. Basically, Wesco's premise was like, Lightning Bolt is the best and most played card in Modern. Let's fit that into a Hate Bear shell. So the 4 Lightning Bolt kicked this deck off. Um, Blade Splicer was there because at the time you really needed to be able to answer an Etched champion. There's the Leonin Arbiter Thalia package is there. That still hasn't changed, but a Johnny Vengeance at the top end, this 4 mana Planeswalker that takes several turns to do anything. Restoration Angel to reset your Blade Splicer. This deck looks sweet. I won a Star City Invitational with the mono white version of this deck around the same time period, but Modern has changed a lot. So I'm going to try to update this, and I found this list that's a little more recent, but it still has some confusing stuff in it. Like, Wesco also played Figure of Destiny, and this deck upgraded to 4 Figure of Destiny, and it's got some Sarah Avenger, Grand Abolisher, still has Fulminator Mages. Wesco had those as well. And in general, though, like, Figure of Destiny is just not a Modern card anymore. Windborn Muse, I'm not sure what that was ever for, but it's not very good. Judge's Familiar, my goodness. Dryad Militant, remember when that card was playable? 4 Kataki's War's Wage in the sideboard. Again, this must have been before Mox Opal was banned, and you really needed to respect Affinity. So, but this was like closer to a present era thing, and I tinkered with this a bit, and all of the work I did just kept coming back to the fact that the best Hate Bears deck in Modern right now, and it's not even close, is Death and Taxes. Just mono white Death and Taxes. So I ended up here, which is very close to just classic Death and Taxes in Modern, but I did want to keep some of the Boros aesthetic to the deck. So I do have Magus of the Moon in the deck. This is not just like randomly picking a red card to put in the deck, like the Uro, Field of the Dead, Omnath kind of piles. They like their lands a lot. Like the Field of the Dead decks, the Amulet decks, having another powerful way to attack mana on top of the Field of Ruins and Ghost Quarters and Thalia felt good to me. So here's Magus of the Moon in this deck, which is otherwise just white taxes. And I wish I could do better for Steven. I hope I didn't totally blow the challenge by just leaning this far in this direction, but just look at what's available. Skyclave Apparition was a card that hadn't been printed yet when Wesco and that other list were printed. Obviously, this card's great. Leonin Arbiter and Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, the only 2 heroes that made it through the entire journey. And now Stoneforge Mystic is legal, which wasn't before. That's a powerful, proactive win condition for a small amount of mana. Still got Aether Vial. Now we have Giver of Runes. That card's great. That didn't exist for those older decks. Archon of Emeria didn't exist for those older decks. And really, I just think this is the way to go. It fits the playstyle. Like, it's not the full Boros Lightning Bolt Figure of Destiny deck that Steven sent me to, but it is a Hate Bears deck. It plays the same way. It's in the budget. This is about 370 tickets to build this deck. And I think it actually does hang in present modern, unlike the other versions. I could have built worse versions, and I decided not to. So let's get into these games. Let's see if Magus of the Moon gives us what we need in certain matchups, or if it is really just better to be mono white. Soon to be determined. All right, I'm on the play for game one, and I have a Giver of Runes and a Leonin Arbiter with Aether Vial. Yeah, this is a curve I can hang with. We're going to immediately give away what deck we're playing, but that's okay. It's not like I could do anything by bluffing. All right, they are some sort of bobble deck. Oh yeah, they do have Luris, so obviously they're a bobble deck. Oh, they're Hammer Time. Cool. Oh, I always forget. I don't play a lot of Aether Vial in Magic Online, and for some reason you have to click to put your Aether Vial trigger on the stack, even if it's the only trigger on the stack. So I'm going to get this Arbiter into play immediately. This deck likes to search its deck quite a lot. They play Steel Shaper's Gift. They need to get the hammer into play. That is part of their plan. And Arbiter should slow them down quite a bit. And I can protect it with Giver if I get to untap again. Path to Exile's in the tank as backup. So, all right, they have a Giver of their own. So I can path this Giver on my turn without giving them a land. Givering them a land, lol. Alright, well, it's hammer time. That's okay. I am ready to answer that. Let's just pop this Giver into play. Yes, please. Get out of here. Don't even get to search. Alright, so I'm in for damage. I can get this other one into play. Now it's just how long can we hold this line? The top of the deck's going to have to be some help. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield, you may attach it. Alright, so that doesn't work retroactively. Like, they can't play like a creature and jump the hammer onto it. Alright, they can get a second hammer here, I guess. Did they already have a second hammer? Oh, they paid for the search. Right. That's right. Leon and Arbiter, too good. Alright, so I'm gonna always yield to this trigger from now on, and I'm gonna leave it on 2 for now. Alright, so how do I lose this game? Alright, they search for Shadow Spear, +1/+1 trample lifelink. Permanents your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible. Alright, does that matter? Yeah, so I can attack with my Arbiter, and I can hold back the 2 Givers and the Aether Vial activation, and I should be able to triple block their creature in a way that makes it irrelevant. They are also on mono silent clearing for mana. Like, every time they tap lands, they lose X life, where X is the cost of that spell, which is pretty insane. Alright, there's the spear. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, do they have another weapon? Oop. Surprise. They paid for Arbiter, but I've got another. Oh, they didn't even let me put it in. They just conceded to the activation. That's funny. Okay, so Relic Warder is definitely coming in. Does Stony Silence actually do anything? Like, do they ever activate equip abilities, or do they just jump them straight into play and equip them in other means? So I don't think I actually want Stony Silence. Mind Sensor is more of the Arbiter effect, and Winds of Abandon is just another path to exile. So spot removal and taxing their searches seems like the way I would win this game. I feel like this is going to be a common theme in this league. Magus of the Moon, not really what I want to be doing here. What else isn't so good? And Thalia is probably good enough. It's going to slow them down. Like, I learned from Phil Gallagher, the Legacy Death and Taxes expert, when we did a league together, that Thalia can be a problem against combo decks like Hammer Time or like Infect or decks like that, because Thalia taxing your own removal spells is a pretty big ask. But I think in this case, Thalia will do more damage to them than it does to me. Like Maul of the Skyclave's probably a little slow for this matchup. Gotta find 2 more cards to cut. Path to Exile is essential. Aether Vial is good, but like this matchup isn't going to get grindy like that, so maybe I don't need all 4. A lot of people don't really explore the space between 0 and 4 Aether Vial. Like sometimes I go down to 0, sometimes go on all 4, sometimes 3 is fine, or 2. Like it's all good. And so Stoneforge Mystic is a non-bow with Leonin Arbiter. Right, I think I'm going to shave a Mystic as well, and just because this is not the type of matchup where I need to maximize my turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic potential and really get on board. Like I just need to be alive on turn 4 or 5. This hand is a mulligan. Uh-oh. This looks familiar. So, okay. Whew. That's a relief. I'm going to send 2 planes to the bottom. Keep these. Obviously, a path to exile would make this hand a whole lot better. But I do have the Ghost Quarter set up, but that's not until turn 3, which might be too late against a deck like this. Alright, it looks like they're not sure what their hand does either. The Double Bauble, that's basically a 4-card hand with upside. Okay, so now I can just run out Ghost Quarter to make sure I don't die to this Inkmoth Nexus. I would not have led on Ghost Quarter. I would have tried to hide that information if they hadn't led on a creature land that could kill me this turn. Alright, Stoneforge Mystic. Getting Shadow Spear. And casting Shadow Spear, okay. I think I want to deploy this Arbiter this turn. Like, I do have to get on board. If they kill me, it is what it is. They have 1 card in their hand that, or okay, they have 2 cards in their hand that they knew about, plus like these wild draws. Like if they can assemble, like equip, so they need to animate, play Hammer, and equip it somehow. They do have enough mana to do that. Do they have enough cards to do it as well? All right, so it looks like this Mystic, they forgot to pay for it, so it doesn't do anything. It's just a body in play. Whoops. Obviously not blocking. Okay, so I would really like to draw a land. Didn't find a land. And now, so this is what I mentioned in sideboarding. I am currently locked under my own Stoneforge Mystic, or locked under my own Arbiter. I can Skyclave Apparition, exiling Shadow Spear right now, and then I have the board under control. I could also Winds of Abandon, the 2/3. I could also play the second Arbiter and just Ghost Quarter the Nexus. I think that makes the most sense. And I'm gonna attack. Like, I'm not gonna double block this thing, not from this position, so I'm gonna just play to a point where I can cast the Skyclave Apparition. And I have Winds of Abandon coming up to answer these creatures next turn anyway. Alright, they skipping the effect. Oh, they skipped one of them. There's another one coming here. Whoops. Yeah, it looks like they forgot they have to pay that twice now, and just paid 2 life for no reason. Leonin Arbiter is a very tricky card. What are they trying to do here? A Pithing Needle? Okay. So that showed up a little bit late to the party. They would have really liked to name Ghost Quarter with that before I had killed their land. Alright. Arbiter Tribal. They are never searching their deck again. And I am starting to get to a point where I'm winning the race. They're currently we're both taking 2 a turn. Once I untap with the third thing, they'll be taking 4 a turn to my 2 a turn. Yeah, I am. Uh-oh, okay. So now I actually have to respect Hammer. That was one of the better draws they could have. Even if they have Hammer, I'm still at 2 life. I'm not going to block. Yeah, no respect. I do really, really want a land, though, so I can Skyclave Apparition. It's pretty important in my master plan here. And by not casting Hammer there, I now know that they definitely don't have Hammer. And I was pretty sure that anyway, but now I 100% know. I'm going to attack with everything, see if they block. Because if I can get a block off this Stoneforge Mystic, then I can Winds of Abandon the other one. I'm probably going to have to Winds the equipped one regardless. I guess if they saved a Hammer for defense mode, they could blow me out here, but that would be a really weird play. They don't have 2 mana to activate Stoneforge Mystic right now, so don't have to worry about Batterskull jumping in. So we'll see where this goes. Alright, no blocks. Take a million. Gonna wind this thing. So I'm at 11, so I am dead to Hammer now. A top deck Hammer jumping in, making this an 11/11 is GG. They can't pay 6 to ignore all 3 Arbiters, so they're not going to get to search for a land. Yeah, that Ghost Quarter early on is pretty questionable. Like, now that I've just been glutted on these 3-drop removal spells that I think would lock up the game if I could play them, I'm have a little bit of the buyer's remorse. Okay, they're just digging. So they're spending lands to draw fresh cards. I guess the only card that matters left in their whole deck is Colossus Hammer. And it has to be actual Hammer. Like, the ways they have to search for it aren't going to work. So they're drawing to a 4-outer. And they didn't find it. Alright, Leonin Arbiter. Too good. On to the next one. Well, I'm on the draw here with the Death and Taxes Gambit. 1 land Aether Vial. Drawing a Plains in my first 2 draw steps is insane. Keeping this Aether Vial around is pretty good. I'm going to keep this. I have 23 lands in my deck, so 22 out of the 53 remaining cards are hits here. Getting Inquisition of Kozilek would be a complete nightmare. It looks like we dodged the discard spell. Missed on the first land drop. If this gets Force of Negation or Spell Pierced, we're also in trouble. Yikes. Okay. So now we really need to draw the planes. It's no longer an option. It'll be there, don't worry. It's always there. Oh, this is a crazy looking card on Magic Online. The foil promo extended art Roffin Triumph. Oh god. I don't think this card's beatable. Alright, so I need to draw planes, play Stoneforge Mystic basically right now. Shit. Alright, we're fucked. Yeah, they have Wrenn and 6 available, and I don't have a second land. Alright, that was like I said, that was a keep for science, and Death and Taxes experts, please tell me if the explosiveness of a full hand with Aether Vial versus the possibility of this happening is worth it or not. That'll show them. So float. I could float mana and cast Stoneforge Mystic. Like I float with a Ghost Quarter the tapped Ghost Quarter with the other Ghost Quarter, search for a Plains. But then I just have a Plains in play with my Stoneforge Mystic, which I'm not convinced is actually better than 2 Ghost Quarters. Like it's pretty close actually. Yeah, there may have been a small window for this game to perform, but this is not it. They've also fetched basics early, which is weird. Hey, we're in business. I can lead on Archon. Yeah, I think I want to use my mana most efficiently here and play Archon. Like, it's probably just going to get bolted. It's not like I'm super excited about any of this. But yeah, so I played the worst card that used my mana the best. So that's one less bolt for the Magus of the Moon. Though they are one turn away from embleming their Wrenn and 6 already, and then they have Lightning Bolts forever. Oh my god. Alright, so I need to draw a... I'm going to have to answer this Wrenn and 6, no matter what it costs next turn, so I might have to do the float and quarter myself plan. Alright, didn't have to do that. I'm going to go for the Apparition. If they counter it, I'm dead to Wrenn and 6. Alright, yeah. Now Wrenn and 6 is off. Okay, so kept a sketchy hand that didn't pan out. Like, even if the Aether Vial resolves, so basically I would have to brick on lands like I did, and they would have to discard or counter the Aether Vial, which they did. And basically the only card played in Modern to do that is Force of Negation, which they had. So it is what it is. Didn't work out. Can't live in regret. So Aven Mind Sensor is pretty good in this sort of matchup. I have to assume Uro is in this deck somewhere. I don't know if I need more Path to Exiles. I think just the ones I have are going to be good enough. And I like Rest in Peace. That cuts off Uro, cuts off the important parts of Wrenn and 6. So I'm going to bring in these 5 cards. I'm going to leave in the Magus of the Moons because this is one of the matchups that it might actually be good. Thalia is a lot worse than I would like in this sort of matchup, but I don't know if it's reasonable to how many I can cut. Like, it's so bad against Wrenn and 6 and so reasonable against everything else. So I'm gonna shave some of her. I might not need 4 Path to Exiles either, especially if I'm bringing in the Rest in Peace, and like Uro is the card I expect to have to beat. Omnath is the other one, so I'll leave in some paths for Omnath. The Rest in Peace will handle Uro. Archon seems medium. It is a flying attacker, which is pretty important if they start getting zombies, but my goal is to keep them off of getting zombies. On the play, I want the full 4 Aether Vial, because that card is pretty important to this matchup. All of the Skyclaves. Flying and First Strike. Oh yeah, so that's my flying. So I'm not going to cut Maul just because flying is so important here. One more of these things has to go. Apparition's important. Maybe I don't need both Mind Sensors. Yeah, I think I like my main deck more than I like having an additional Mind Sensor in. It is another threat that dies to Ren and 6. Is Mind Sensor better than Flicker Wisp, though, in this particular world? Like, Wisp can reset an Uro if I need it to in an emergency. Just really hope that's not the plan. Alright, I'm getting rid of Flicker Wisp. Let's do this. That's a functional hand. So they need the Force of Negation for Aether Vial again to cut that off. And then I would need to brick on a land for 2 or 3 draw steps here before I need to be super worried. Alright, Aether Vial's in. We won the small toss. Because they could Force of Vigor it if they want. Alright, so still no plays, but we did find the crucial third land here. I'm going to activate Aether Vial in their end step, even though I have nothing to put in. I just want to make them think about it and respect it. Like, I want to show them that activating Aether Vial when I have nothing is in my range. Because then they won't necessarily respond correctly next time when I actually do have something. Opponent would search a library. That player searches the top 4 cards. Alright, so Mind Sensor doesn't care how they're searching their library. Alright, so I'll play Field of Ruin. And I am going to try to snipe with this Mind Sensor. I could just get it into play now to preempt a fetch land. Ooh, they didn't even have one. Alright, so I'm going to activate this. Nope. Then I'm going to play Mind Sensor. They'll probably Lightning Bolt it. But then that's one less bolt that they'll have. Oh, they have Mana Leak? That's fine. Alright, what do we got? Oh, that was a good one. So I'm going to jack them up quite a bit here. I'm going to strip them off that. Now this is kind of questionable. Do I even want Magus in the Moon? They might just concede. Okay, yeah, they conceded. Because missing the land drop then being under Arbiter. If I even want Magus there or not is kind of an interesting question though, because if I Magus, then that gives them a mountain and they can Lightning Bolt one of my threats. But I guess they're under trouble from both of my threats. Glad I didn't have to show them the Magus either way. I don't think my sideboarding changes here. Like the only thing I could do differently is shave an Aether Vial and bring in a Flicker Wisp or an Archon back in, but they've shown me that their deck has Mana Leak in it, more than one Mana Leak. We saw 2 Mana Leaks in game 1, so clearly counterspells are part of their plan, and I don't want to give anything up for free there. Aether Vial's the best way to get virtual card advantage against a counterspell deck. The mana in this hand kind of hurts, but hopefully we'll dig out of it. Just a basic plains goes a long way. I'm gonna lead on the field because I still have hope that I'll draw plains and I can do this pain-free. This hand also super awkwardly just Magus the Moon cuts me off of all my spells because I don't have a basic plains or Aether Vial. Do have turn 2 Arbiter though. They're gonna have to do something about that. Interesting. So if I play Arbiter, they can just Lightning Bolt it. If I play Thalia, it'll cost them 2 mana and probably 2 life to Lightning Bolt it. They can Mana Leak either one. I'm actually going to lead on Thalia. Because this is the one that I would prefer that they answer. They have 5 cards left in their hand. Like Arbiter is the better card in this matchup, so let's give them Thalia on a platter. All right, what do we got here for 3 mana? Just a Triome. Cool. I'm going to hold up Mind Sensor now. I am getting kind of worried about these Sunbaked Canyons. Another land hasn't emerged. So I'll play the Mind Sensor. They can fetch around it, but I'm not going to just not use my mana. Wow, they just mana leak that thing. Love it. So I can play the Mind Sensor. All right, yeah, I'm going to play the Mind Sensor with the mana I have available. I could have used Ghost Quarter to save a life, but at this point I think just hitting them with the Ghost Quarter is going to be more valuable. I'm not sure how many basics they actually play. I hope it's not very many. It's probably in like the 3 to 5 range. So if they let this resolve thinking they'll just bolt it, then I'll have priority to play Ghost Quarter, and then we'll get into a standoff where they can't bolt because then I could Ghost Quarter. Yeah, so we're in that standoff now. Oh, is it Omnath time? It is Omnath time. All right, I'll hit this. Hope they miss. Oh, I probably should have hit the island so I can jam Moon Magus. But Moon Magus is currently losing to the 4/4 on board, even if they don't have another play. All right, yeah, and even Mind Sensor kept them from fetching with Omnath and really going off. So that was all good news. Basic planes, come on, basic planes. Ugh. Let's hope this works. All right, they did not have the forced blue card. All right, now it's time to turn the corner here. I can search off Mind Sensor. I can't search off Arbiter. So I think Batterskull is the one I want to offset this life loss. That's also the one that demands an answer on Stoneforge Mystic. The other ones, they can just hold up spot removal for whichever thing I equip, but Batterskull is its own standalone threat. I am regretting not ghost quartering the island, because I think pivoting to a place where I can hit with this Magus is a good game plan, but maybe it doesn't matter. Because I'm not going to play the Magus for several turns anyway. Okay, so they had all those answers ready. They don't have enough mana to Uro plus activate plus escape Uro in the same turn. I think this might be a good spot for Moon Magus. But they have that fetch land in play. Yeah, Teferi means I can't snipe this Misty Rainforest. So I could spend my mana most efficiently with Aven Mind Sensor. Could also just go for the Moon Magus right now. I actually think that's fine. Let them fetch a basic. Hopefully this will constrict their options enough. Like, they're not going to be able to Cryptic Command. They're not going to be able to Omnath. So I'm going to mess this up as much as I can. Oh, they're just putting Lightning Bolt on top of the deck. Okay. It's alright. It got a draw step out of them. And I don't actually want Magus of the Moon in play anyway. It's actually really bad for me. And by attacking Teferi, it means that they're going to have to bolt immediately. Or else they could just like take 2, bolt in my end step, and cost me a turn. Yeah, this Teferi is a problem. Oh, another Mystic Sanctuary, huh? Getting back Lightning Bolt again. Yeah, because of my stupid Sunbake Canyons, I'm very close to just, like, getting bolted out somehow. So I can Field of Ruin them now. That gets rid of the Lightning Bolt. Also gets me a basic land. The alternative is to cast something that could get Lightning Bolted. Alright, I think this investment is solid. Yeah, so that just undid their Mystic Sanctuary. The Lightning Bolt's still in the deck, but I'm going to move to second main so this floating green mana goes away. An Aether Vial can operate at instant speed even under a Teferi. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, now if they have land plus Uro, they can get it into play all at once. Alright, they put that Stomping Ground into play tap, so I'm not getting Uro this turn. And someday, drawing another mana source would be great. Like, being able to double spell here would be such a big deal, but that is not what I've been given. I think I actually want to rest in peace here. Because Teferi can bounce any creature I play anyway, and just making sure that the Uro top deck isn't a game ender is pretty important. So let's see if they want to bounce Aether Vial before it gets to 2, because they know I'm holding at least Stoneforge Mystic as far as 2s go. Okay, yeah, so they are just spewing it off. Field of the Dead is a really good draw for them at this point. It's just naturally already there. More damage. I'm just like very close to dead to double bolt. Am I gonna get mana leaked? Cryptic Command, counter draw. Okay. That is what it is. Alright, well, dead to double bolt. Here's Stoneforge Mystic. I'll work this Batter Skull into play somehow. Next turn I'll have mana that stops hurting me. Hey, there's the Uro. Very fancy Uro. Extended art, foil, borderless. Fancy pants Uro. Is this Teferi mana? Or is it Omnath mana? It's mistapped Omnath mana. That's what it looks like. Alright, it looks like they might be about to go off with Omnath. Yep. And they found a fetch land, so they get the mana boost if they want it. Alright, what are you going to do with it? Alright, so they can get the third land here, which deals 4 damage, puts me to 2. So now I'm just dead to Lightning Bolt, also dead to tapping these lands. Is their last card in hand Lightning Bolt? Okay, it's not. Are you saying there's a chance? There's probably not, let's be honest. So basically can't do anything. The fetch is their first land drop, so I basically have to get Batterskull into play for this game to continue in any way at all. If they can make 3 land drops this turn, I am deceased. If they have Lightning Bolt, I am deceased. If they attack with Omnath, I will block so fast. Like Cryptic Command bouncing Batterskull would be real bad. Yeah, there's just a lot of bad things going on. It's safe to say. They're trying to figure this out, so it must not be a super clean line. There is some work to be done here. If they just go to combat, I'm going to block with Stoneforge Mystic and put Batterskull in after blocks, because I can't just get tapped out. Like if I try to put the Batterskull in to block with, and then they bounce or remove the Batterskull, then I'm just dead. This gives me a little buffer. I'm still dead to a lot of stuff. Yeah, Teferi is a bad one. So I could go to 1 to draw a card at the end of the turn. I guess I probably should do that. I actually think that bouncing Batterskull is worse than bouncing the Germ. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go to 1 to draw a card. Because they can't tap these for mana anyway, they might as well get cards out of them. Well, all in. Um, Skyclave Apparition. Go. Exile Uro. Hope they don't have a removal spell ever. I was dead to Lightning Bolt anyway, but now Path to Exile is also lethal. Cryptic Command bouncing Skyclave Apparition is lethal. Ren and 6 dealing 1 to me is lethal. Alright, GG's. That matchup seems like it would be really hard most of the time. That is the best deck in Modern for a reason. Alright, so I'm on the play for round 3. I have Mother, or Giver, excuse me, Giver into Stoneforge on curve. I'm going to keep this. Even holding Sword of Fire Nice. I genuinely enjoy when I get to search for one equipment then put in another. The strategic value to that varies, but I definitely enjoy it every time. Just especially in person where you can see the look on your opponent's face where you search for Umezawa's Jitte, but then you put in Batterskull in combat and then their creature dies. Oh, that feels good. See what our opponent's got for us. Alright, let's give them some runes. It's so refreshing to play a deck that I can just F6 with. I say that a lot, but I am so used to playing blue decks that my F6 value is never quite what I want it to be. Alright, let's go. Can't force a negation. Didn't have the spell snare. I've got a giver. Let's batter your skull. Definitely not attacking here. Zagoth Triome. So bug colors, Giver of Runes can in fact interact with Abrupt Decay in a way you want it to. I even get to double spell. I can play Aether Vial and leave up the Batterskull. That's pretty juicy. If you want to counter this, that's fine. Though we'll see how their mana is going to get used. Alright, still no attacks. So the goal is to draw a land and then be able to put in Sword of Fire and Ice and equip it in the same turn. It's also possible we just get straight out muscled by this Growth Spiral deck, but I hope that's not the case. Field of the Dead isn't a land you want this early. I think if they had basically any other land available, they would not have put in Field. With the exception of maybe a basic, like something that comes into play untapped and pain-free, would be a reason not to do that. But it wouldn't surprise me if they missed their land drop this turn, based on what they've shown me. They're thinking about it. What are they thinking about right now? Like, are they deciding, like, do I cast Serum Visions or do I hold up Spell Pierce? Like, what is happening over there? Or are they just double queuing and making me wait? They could have something like Dismember. Alright, they did have a land. So I'm suspecting this is a Nexus of Fate deck. So like all of those things seem likely to be in this deck. Is that card legal in Modern? I'm pretty sure it is. All right. Activate Stoneforge. I'm going for the sword here. If they bounce or in some way interact with Batterskull and not the Germ, then that's something I can't interact with. with Giver of Runes. We'll see. They would need like Brazen Borrower. Okay, looks like we're just put some ranch on that salad. Here we come. Now if they bounce Batterskull, it doesn't matter because I still have a 2/2 germ. Alright, yeah, it looks like they're just taking it. Right, and then Magus the Moon can come down next turn and cause some problems. And I'm still sitting on these ghost quarters. Like I could just fire them off on the fields. They could be trying to set up some 2-turn play of like spew a removal spell into Giver in the end step, untap, and cast one when it's gonna work. Not sure. They've been pretty casual and deliberate with all of their decisions so far. Feel free to watch this video at 2x speed. I won't be offended. That's something that I assume everyone does, but if you don't know, you can watch YouTube videos, you can change the speed. I always consume Magic Online content at 1.5 to 2 times speed. As the talking is still perfectly understandable. And the action, it starts to look a little more like Arena if you're watching it really quickly. Alright, so they could have Cryptic Command here to tap my squad and bounce Aether Vial. Tap and draw. I might as well give this Pro Black since it's getting tapped anyway. In case they draw a Fatal Push off that Cryptic tap. Please fetch a non-basic. Please fetch a non-basic. Please fetch a non-basic. Ooh, you sucker. Fell for it. Alright, so they put Cryptic on top right away. And it's a little awkward. Like, do I want them to draw that Cryptic Command or not? Like, I could Ghost Quarter them, and then they have to decide if they want to search for a basic or draw Cryptic Command. I don't think they can afford to get Strip Mined, so that's the decision they're going to make. I guess the alternate is, like, the problem is it gives them a basic. Like, if I Ghost Quarter, they get a third basic, then I cast Magus of the Moon, then they can actually cast Cryptic Command if they find another one. I'll just jam my Moon Magus right now. Yeah, and they just concede to that. Okay, so they didn't have the third blue source. Search for Riscanta doesn't matter anymore. So, Magus of the Moon finally showing up, doing damage. I want Rest in Peace against this matchup for sure. They showed me Mystic Sanctuary and Search for Riscanta. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they have Nexus of Fate. Like if this is... It's got to be an Uro deck. It's definitely a Mystic Sanctuary deck, so those look good to me. I'm going to shave on a Path to Exile. And Thalia seems really good here. Do you ever cut Skyclave Apparition? Is that defensible? Alright. Archon of Emeria again gets the chop here. I'm replacing them with just a flying creature that's probably better in the matchup. Like the double spell versus no searching. That might be close, actually. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with the Mind Sensors. I do like them better. Want to keep the Maul because it can get over zombies if I need them. Arbiter's great. Thalia's solid. Is it just Skyclave Apparition somehow? Stoneforge Mystic was an all-star there. Trying to think of like Maul of the Skyclave is jumping out at me as the most unique card, and it's like exactly what I want if they start making zombies. with Field of the Dead, but I have so many ways to control Field of the Dead that I think maybe Maul of the Skyclaves is not what I'm looking for in this matchup. Like I'm planning for a board where I'm already losing when I have 4 Ghost Quarter, 3 Field of Ruin, plus all the Arbiters and Mind Sensor business before they even get to zombies. Then even if they have zombies, I could give her runes for Pro Black to get through the zombies. Also not sure how good Giver of Runes was that game. Like, this might be a matchup where spot removal doesn't really matter. So I'm going to shave one of those. Alright, this is my plan. I'm sticking to it. This hand is phenomenal. I'll keep it. We get Aether Vial, turn 2 Arbiter, plus we can Arbit a second Vial a second Arbiter in on turn 3 if they like pay and fetch. Just curve our way up here. And on turn 3 we can also play the Rest in Peace with our mana before using Aether Vial. Okay, still getting Vial in, because now I can Arbiter and Giver on turn 2. They did show me Force of Negation game 1. It's a good chance they boarded it out, though. Alright, let's start checking for counter spells. So I could, since I have the second Rest in Peace, I'm actually going to put a Rest in Peace on this deck first. If they have like Mana Leak or something here, that'll clear the way for my creatures. And the second Arbiter does matter because it has power and toughness and the ability stack. The second Rest in Peace doesn't matter. Yeah, so I'll just pressure that way first. And then next turn I can Arbiter plus Violin Arbiter, and Giver of Runes is there to protect them. So I'm pretty likely to end up with an Arbiter in play next turn. That might have been a weird line. White Weenie experts or Death and Taxes experts, please let me know in the chat what you would have done there. I think the way I explained it makes sense, but I could just have some fundamental misunderstanding at the root of all of that decision making. This is definitely not really my wheelhouse. So Magus the Moon is already helping in this game because they lost to it game 1, they're fetching basics now. And these decks don't really want to fetch basics. Like, they can do it if they need to, but it's not really the plan they want to be on. So hopefully I am hurting them somehow. Alright, so let's put in this Giver. They are showing Cryptic Command already. Growth Spiral, hell of a card. So now, do they cast a removal spell? Am I getting Abrupt Decayed? What's the plan here before the Giver is active? Giver can only target other creatures. She can't save herself. Mother of Runes can save herself, but Giver only gives, never keeps. Is Keeper of Runes another card? I feel like that's a card that exists also. Alright, so I can play one of these. They can Cryptic Command if they want. Hopefully it just gets in, though. I hope they just think they can play around it, and then they like pay and crack a fetch next turn, and then I surprise them with another one. That's my dream. But it certainly looks like they're trying to figure out the best way to Cryptic Command this turn. Like, is it counter draw? Is it counter bounce Aether Vial? Bouncing Rest in Peace probably doesn't matter, unless they have a discard spell, which would be great because I have 2 Rest in Pieces. Alright, here it comes. Counter draw. Okay. They settled for the least interesting version. I'm still going to try to snipe them with this Aether Vial. Oh, the straight up Mystic Sanctuary. Alright, there's nothing to snipe. I'm not going to hold on to this Arbiter at the expense of putting 2 power into play. I'm going to bring Vial up to 3 and then leave it there forever. Now, navigating how to get this sword into play is going to be interesting because they're holding up counter spells, lots of them. Ooh, that's this is non-token, isn't it? Target non-land non-token. Yeah, so they can ambush me with a Shark Typhoon, but I can give Pro Blue. So I'm gonna make my attack. If they make a 3/3, they make a 3/3. If not, they take 2. And so I can cast Sword of Fire and Ice into this obvious counterspell situation, or I can play a backup Rest in Peace, or I can just hold up mana to draw a card with Sunbaked Canyon. I'm going to try the backup Rest in Peace. That doesn't advance the board, but it also doesn't cost me anything. Like, I feel like the Sword of Fire and Ice, finding a spot to get it into play safely is going to be worth more than whatever's going on right now. If they just like end step Cryptic to bounce draw or something, that's good for me. Holy guacamole, Fact or Fiction. You can have Assassin's Trophy and 2 lands or the 2 growth spirals. Does that make sense? I think they will take the growth spirals in this spot, but I guess we'll see. I'm gonna do this. This might be a mistake. They might. This is just a really good pile either way. Yeah, so they kept the Assassin's Trophy and the 2 lands. Oh, bummer. Okay. They did have a Fatal Push all along. So now I'm kind of glad I played out the extra Rest in Peace, because now they can't just trophy it and go off. I'm not quite sure what go off means here, but it involves Mystic Sanctuary in a row for sure. It's awkward that if they trophy me, I can't search because of my own Arbiter. So they have like a wide open freebie trophy right now. I don't actually know how the rules work. If they trophy my Arbiter, if I get to search or not. Destroy target permanent and opponent controls. Okay, I think that I do get to search if they hit my Arbiter. Alright, so now I can always yield and always no. It's just going to be at 3 forever. There are no 4s in the deck. It'll push, huh? You got me. Alright, it looks like we're just getting controlled here. Whatever their combo is doesn't even matter. It's getting Sultai controlled here, the historic deck. Though hopefully these Rest in Pieces are meaningfully pressuring the Uros and their win conditions. I am way ahead on the clock thanks to some questionable clock management from my opponent throughout the game. Alright, even if this gets countered, I do want to keep the card for card trading happening here. I want to be on board. And now that I have no creatures, it might be more likely they let it resolve, especially since they can just kill it with Assassin's Trophy anyway. Oh, they did leave themselves in kind of a pickle here. They had Triome and 2 blue mana up at the end of my turn, which means if they tried to fetch and I vialed in something like Aven Mind Sensor, they would not have been able to trophy it. So they just went to their turn, which makes perfect sense to me. There's the Uro, who is not going to come back. Yeah, I'm interested to see what their plan is to win this game now that I have this double rip. 1 Uro's gone. I'm not going to put in Skyclave Apparition, not yet. So I'm going to use... Oh, they have Field of the Dead, obviously. Okay, that's their plan to win this game. Alright, so having Ghost Quarter now is a little bit of insurance for Field of the Dead. Just gotta kind of hope they don't put it in the play this turn because they have multiple fetch lands ready to punish. I am gonna put in Skyclave Apparition this time, just as a body to hold the sword. I probably should have done it last turn also. But let's keep things going here. So if they end up spending the Assassin's Trophy on this creature or the sword, then that's 1 less trophy they have to clear out the rest in pieces. What do you want to do about this? They can't block it with a shark. They can't bounce it with Cryptic Command. They do have to destroy it somehow. Yep, eliminate will work. You get a, you don't even get a 0/0 actually. You get nothing from me. They didn't have Field of the Dead last turn, so I think it's fine to tap out for this Aether Vial. Yeah, they're in full reaction mode. Alright, this is the new one. Yes, do that. Alright, so these Aether Vials are going to have to carry the day. As long as I keep finding creatures to put in and threaten holding the sword, this keeps being good for me. Wilderness Wreck, okay. So I want to put this in before the end step when they get to untap. I guess it doesn't matter because now they can just Assassin's Trophy, get a 4/4 and untap anyway. Okay, yeah, I guess I messed that up. Oh wait, no, because it doesn't come back. It's not Oblivion Ring. They get a 4/4, they don't get Wilderness Wreck. Got it. Figured it out. Yeah, let's go up to 2. Now let's keep drawing creatures. Not a creature. In there. Is it time for the trophy? Trophy time. Alright, they trophied the creature and not the sword. So that means that hits can keep coming. And I do have one of my few answers to a 4/4 in hand. Let's see. They can't Cryptic Command right now. I guess they can hardcast Force of Negation, but then that spends these 2 fetch lands they've been holding on to. But a 4/4 could totally win this game. I can jam Batterskull next turn though. Okay, have been negated. We're down to 3 cards in hand. Alright, deck, it's time to deliver some hits. Flicker Wisp, great draw here. I'm going to say always no to this triggered ability from now on. So I have 1 at 3, 1 at 2 forever. Ooh, Giver. Yeah, I guess I'll play Giver because I can put Sword of Fire and Ice on it, and that plays. So they do have to sort of counter or interact with every single creature I put on this deck from this point on. Oh god. Alright, so they can have Field of the Dead or everything else. That's pretty aggressive. They'll probably just take the everything else pile. But Field of the Dead is one of the only cards left that I really care about, one of their few ways left to win the game. So we'll see what they want to do with this pile. Fact or Fiction, so good. I tend to forget that card is legal in Modern, but it is. Alright, they took the 4. No surprise there. But that's one less Field of the Dead I have to deal with. Thirsty. Okay, so 4/4 coming in. I can play Batterskull next turn if most creatures in my deck, except for Giver of Runes, which there's only one left of, I can play at this point off Aether Vials, so I can tap out for the Batterskull pretty much no matter what I draw. Alright, Apparition, not bad. They have 5 cards in their hand, and I know what 3, or they played the Scalding Tarn. I know what 3 of them are. Alright, I mean, this is probably about to get countered, but I'm still going to do it. Got to work through these last cards in their hand. That's the job right now. I guess I could have Vileden and Skyclave Apparition and equipped it and saved the Batterskull for a future turn. I don't know, maybe that's better? I don't know. It's tricky stuff. Fact or Fiction in response. I'll give them the same choices again. You can have Field of the Dead or all these other cards, because none of those cards matter to me. I've already committed to this line. Also, nice Aether Gust. Alright, they took the field this time. They must be interested. So, oh, they set up a turn where they can Field of the Dead and then jam all these Uros. So they're going to get a bunch of zombies at once. Alright, yeah, they've did a pretty good job setting that up. And it's the turn where I'm tapped out of Ghost Quarter. Alright, field. So they're going to get at least 3 zombies this turn. Maybe more. Can I deal with zombies? What do I do about zombies? I just have to be bigger than the zombies, I guess. Uro did not put a land into play, which means that their hand is 4 spells, which is much worse to me than if they had another zombie. Alright, Skyclave Apparition. Can't get anything. What even are my good draws? The third Rest in Peace is not it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'll Ghost Quarter that. So I can block the 4/4 and go to 1. I'm sure that they have an answer somewhere in their hand here. I'm just going to give them all 5. Deck points are the closest way to killing them that I have here. I'm just going to F6 through this turn. It does take them a long time to win. Okay, so now we've seen Field of the Dead and my own 4/4 I gave them seem to be their ways they can win this game. And now that I've seen how grindy this gets, I think Maul of the Skyclaves is actually very good. There might be games where I cheese through them. Auriok Champion might be good too. That might be better than a lot of this other stuff I have going on. Because all the removal they showed me is black, plus the zombies are black. These might just be good enough as sticky threats. Thalia, First Strike does tangle with the zombie, but not as well as Pro Black, and they ramp so hard. Yeah, I don't think Thalia is where I want to be. Is Thalia better than Arbiter? I guess is the question. They also brought in that Aether Gust. That must mean they're really scared of Magus of the Moon, or they just suspect that I have more red cards than they saw game 1. Relic Warder, I don't think I want Relic Warder for the Wilderness Wreck. That doesn't seem super important. What else do we... I think I might want to turn one of these Magus, or maybe both, into both of the Archons. Like the Flying Attacker, the 1 spell per turn both matter, and they've already shown me that they boarded in extra answers to Magus of the Moon, and they have a lot of basics to fetch. So maybe I'll just get all the way off Magus of the Moon. Trying to imagine a world, like, could this game get grindy enough where I get to overload Winds of Abandon to clear out a bunch of zombies? Like, am I ever going to have 6 lands in play? And I think that flying over or bashing through is going to be a better plan than that. I'm actually just going to get all the way off Magus of the Moon. Not that it's not good in the matchup, but they showed me that they not only have a ton of removal, but brought in more specific answers to Magus of the Moon. I'll keep this Aether Vial hand. This isn't exactly coming out blazing, but I think that's okay. I do have an Aven Mind Sensor plus Field of Ruin line set up for a couple turns out. I have the 1-of Flicker Wisp. See if that's any good. With Vial, it probably is. Yeah, and the Flicker Wisp also, it answers Skyclave Apparition tokens, which most of the damage my opponent did last game was with the token I gave them. They're going to have to make their decisions a little quicker this time. I have almost double their clock. Drawing a 2-drop or a Mother or Giver would be great here. That's a 2-drop that I want to see. Early and often. Under the counter spells, ignores the removal spells. Let's hope that they just poop their pants when this card came into play. I hope their hand is just like 4 Fatal Pushes and an Abrupt Decay. Yep, fetching up front before I can flash in a creature is smart. I think my best draw is probably Leonin Arbiter, because I could vial it in, then activate Field of Ruin for the full Strip Mine. Even better than Strip Mine. Oh wait, no, I don't get to search either. Never mind. It would just be regular Strip Mine. I'm going to activate Vial, make them think about it. Just live in their head, rent free, as they say, as the kids say. So I think I just want to cast this Aven Mind Sensor. And I want to hide the Field of Ruin while I do it. Like, I don't want them to know that's the thing I have access to right away. Yeah, I just want to get the Mind Sensor into play. It might be better to ambush a fetch land with it, but they play a lot of removal anyway. They could line it up if they want to. Plus, I want to get under the counter spells. Oh, do you have a Wrath? Wilderness Wreck. Okay. I can flicker that in their next second main. Ooh, Rest in Peace, not bad. Let's get this Field of Ruin into play. So if I go for this now, they can respond with removal, but I still get to kill their land and play Rest in Peace. And if they cast a removal spell, then they probably don't have a counter spell too. And if they don't have a removal spell, they're in trouble. Wow, it's just resolving. So they floated that mana. I'm not going to give them the chance to use that floating mana. Okay, they had it anyway. Field of the Dead, Uro versus lands and Nexus, I think, are the piles I want to give them. Because they don't know about this Rest in Peace I'm about to cast. Or the Flicker Wisp that's about to get rid of their Wilderness Wreck. Alright, don't force a negation me. Alright, those are gone. That's handled. So they got a fetch land, which is taxed by the Mind Sensor. They did miss on the field search, by the way, so we did get the upgraded Strip Mine out of this. Alright, back up Uro. Always yield, always yes. Is this the turn where I go for Flicker Wisp? They'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I think it's next turn. Always no. Nice. Get in there. And I'm going to cast the Archon. Turning off double spelling will be a pretty big deal. And I'm going to flicker the Wilderness Wreck in the end step. Or in the main phase. Ooh, if they cast a spell, I don't need to. Oh, baby. That's a scary spell. How do I want to handle this? I guess, like, I can use Flicker Wisp to save one of these creatures, or I can just let this resolve and then flicker the Wilderness Wreck. Alright, so I'll get rid of that. It's not going to trigger this turn. Time to draw Sword of Fire and Ice. Rip. Literally. Alright, well, I'm in some trouble. The second Rest in Peace hopefully will buy me some time, but we're all in on this Flicker Wisp. That was a really good damnation. And now Wilderness Wreck's in play. Really needed to find an apparition that turn. God, Fact or Fiction. What a powerful magic card that is. They also need to execute this plan in 5 minutes. So here comes the Nexus. And what else you got? Eliminate, just for good measure. He had the mana, why not? You can have Fact or Fiction or all these other cards. They took all the other cards, which is fine if you're planning for a long game, but my only win condition at this point is the clock. You can have Field of the Dead or everything else. Took Field of the Dead. Alright, let's draw Strip Mine. Didn't draw on. They can scry 2. Alright, this Field of the Dead's gonna end the game pretty quick. Didn't have an answer to it on time. Guess it depends how many turns they can take in a row right now. These fetches are 2 more zombies, so I'm taking 8 a turn. They have Force of Negation and Fatal Push in backup now, and they can Field of Ruin to get another land drop. Okay, yeah. I have certainly lost this game. Trying to think if there's something I can vial in that would save me time. Like, I don't have like a Auriok Champion is still a reasonable draw. It's like worth a lot of life, and it can block forever and gain life when they make zombies. It's all a pipe dream. They're probably just going to Cryptic Command it. But I'm allowed to fantasize about drawing perfect cards. Yeah, Damnation was the card that I had to hope that they didn't have. I was in a pretty good board position, but not seeing the true sweeper until game 3 exposed me to making some questionable choices. Aha! Moral victory. I'm just going to concede. They have plenty of time. I'm not going to make you watch me die for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Alright, so again got out muscled by a deck that went slightly bigger, or a lot bigger, I guess, but Gross Spiral and Uro, even in the face of Rest in Peace, still good enough to win the game. Field of the Dead, hell of a card. But I'm on the draw here in round 4. My opponent went to 5. I kept to 7. That starts on turn 2, so let's hope we're not dead. Ooh, Elvish Reclaimer versus Leonin Arbiter is a matchup for the ages. So they are some sort of Primeval Titan Field of the Dead deck. Let's just see if Arbiter can mess up their day enough. Oh, there's you right on time. There's nothing better than drawing an Aether Vial in turn 2. Alright, so they're going to fetch and probably activate Reclaimer in response to Arbiter here. And then next turn I can play a second Arbiter and Ghost Quarter them, and that should pull ahead of any ramping they do. Flagstones, alright. So they can Cleansing Fire me, and I can't search. That sucks. Alright, back up. Quarter. Bang. They can't pay for both. Now they have a 3/4 though. That is the biggest creature on the planet. Vesuva, probably copying. Yeah, Sacred Foundry is the only thing that makes any sense. Field of Ruin also ruins me. I think Stoneforge Mystic plus Aether Vial is a better line this turn. Oh no, Stoneforge Mystic doesn't do anything. I'm playing Archon. It's playing my flyer. I want to save Field of the Dead for the, or Field of Ruin for Field of the Dead, maybe. Ooh, that's a good path to exile. Aether Vial, get in there. They're not even close to casting. Oh right, that was my spell for the turn. Whoops. Yeah, so they don't have green mana. Let's keep it that way. Yeah, the one spell a turn. I probably should have pathed Reclaimer and attacked for more damage. Alright, Sanctuary picked up. Rasuva. Apparition. That's better than Path. Get you out of here. Turn your 3/4 into a 1/1, attack for 6. Alright, so I have Path to Exile, and they're dead on board. That's your spell for the turn. And skadoosh. Bang. Alright, Death and Taxes. Perfect lineup against exactly what our opponent was doing. The Multi 5 didn't help them, I'm sure. Auric Champion, Relic Warder. It's funny that sorting my sideboard by both color and converted mana cost result in the same pile. I'm trying to spread it out so I can look at it better, and it just can't be spread. So Stony Silence and Rest in Peace I'm not interested in, I know that. Auric Champion, pretty sure I'm not interested in. Though it does do the same thing, which is challenge a board full of zombies in a meaningful way, but I think my Flyers and Disruption are a better way to do that. Relic Warder, I'm not sure what artifacts and enchantments are in this deck. Like, do they even still have Amulet? Like, I'm a little out of loop on all of the modern tech. Like, I know this is a real deck, the green-white Reclaimer deck. It's so good that it even has shown up in Legacy a little bit. I just don't know exactly what's in the modern build of it. I do want Path to Exile. Do I want the additional Winds of Abandon? It's good against Primeval Titan. It's bad against zombies. I think I might want to just keep what I have and change the something into Mind Sensors. So I don't think Thalia is helpful in this matchup. Like, this is one of those matchups where I think she's more likely to hurt me than help me. Like, if she delays me attacking with an equipment for a turn, or like delays me casting a spell, a creature, and Path to Exile, that's way worse than even Mind Sensor. Alright, I'm going to present this deck until they show me otherwise. I'm going to keep this. It's got to land in an Aether Vial. And Magus of the Moon, which they did not see in Game 1. I did show them red mana, but I think the only red source I showed them was Sunbaked Canyon, which could reasonably be in mono white. So they might not know to expect red cards at all. Drawing the planes was nice. Let's do that one more time. Or let's draw an Arbiter is probably my favorite draw right now. Alright, found a planes. I'll take it. Hope it's not too late. So they're not quite at Castle Garenbrig. So I get to at least hold up Aven Mind Sensor next turn, and then the turn after that, I'm holding up Vial in Magus of the Moon. I'm just gonna pass. I don't want to lose my Mind Sensor to a Lightning Bolt. Uh-oh. Is it go time? Cleansing Wildfire. Destroy target land. Search a live land card, put it into play tapped. Alright, sure. Yes, I would like to do that. Thank you. That was literally just cycle. Alright, now Vial's on 3. The Magus is represented. Is it better to draw a card or to try to get this Sword of Fire and Ice connecting? I think I'm going to go for the sword. One, two, three, four, five. Alright, they're not quite where they need to be. I might be able to trick them a little longer. If this is Dryad of the Elysian Grove, what do I do? It's Cleansing Wildfire. What do I do with that? I think I just let it resolve. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to float mana. There's no reason to. Dryad, so I'm going to put in the Magus so I don't end up dying to Valakut here. So the Dryad's going to make them into all land types, but they're not Valakuts or Field of the Deads anymore. So they do tap for all colors, but that's all they do. Always no. And always yield. Let's suit up this Mind Sensor, and they're dead. Alright, Magus of the Moon. We're doing it, Steven. Alright, on to the final round. And I'm on the play for the final game. I'm keeping this. It has Aether Vial. This is pretty equipment heavy, but Maul of the Skyclaves leaping into play and equipping right away means that I could probably set up some explosive like Aether Vial turn. This Archon of Emeria. I hope it's actually good in this matchup. Opponent has Luris as their avatar, but did not reveal Luris, so I'll take that. Utopia Sprawl. Uh-oh. Do I just Ghost Quarter that? Just fire it off? Probably. whatever. This hand is pretty reliant on Aether Vial anyway. I don't know if that was good, but it felt right. And now, because I set myself back a land drop, I can Archon of Emeria and equip it with Maul of the Skyclave in the same turn. Has anyone nicknamed this card Sky Maul yet? Because that's the magazine on airplanes that they try to make you buy peanuts out of. Officially Sky Maul. If that's not claimed, I'm claiming it. Now they have to respect Leonin Arbiter. I don't know if they're going to, but they should. Alright, what you got? Devoted Druid. Okay, that's what they're doing. Them not being able to cast 2 spells next turn is going to be a big deal. And no. Womp 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 womp. Yes, use this ability. Alright, so I'll put in the foil one. I guess I should have led on Sword of Fire and Ice. What am I even doing? Why did I think I could attack in the same turn? Yeah, I definitely should have put in Sword of Fire and Ice. God, I'm an idiot. I got so excited. I was like, I can do all this at once. Ah! Without actually thinking about what any of it means. I probably should have just cast the second Archon, actually. Like, forget about all the equipments. Yeah, I should have played the second Archon, because now they can just, like, Path to Exile and win somehow. Mistakes were made. Lots of them, actually. Alright. Horizon Canopy came into play tapped. If they had removal for this, they missequenced. So let's see what the payoff is. Ooh, are they just passing the turn? That would be so exciting. Wow. All right, always no. Another vial. I could play Sword of Fire and Ice. I feel like I should. All right, so I'm getting in there for my damage. I think I want to cast the second Archon and leave up Vial on Flicker Wisp. Like, I think this does the most to check their combo. Aladomari's Call. So there's Vizier. Non-basic lands. Just non-basic lands. Okay, it's not also creatures. I'm not sure if that matters, but there it is. So I can give them the Vizier combo, but then they can't do anything with their infinite mana. Just trying to think if there's a way to outmaneuver all this stuff. Okay. You have infinite mana, but you can't cast 2 spells. Like, do they have instants that I care about? I'm trying to think of the best time to flicker this Devoted Druid. I think it's their next upkeep. Though they can, like, Wildly Collected Company on my turn. Alright, I'm gonna let them have that, just leave up the Flicker Wisp. I feel like this is a huge spot where format knowledge matters a lot. Like, I don't actually know where I'm supposed to interact with them here. Like, if Collected Company is their payoff, this might still be okay. If Court of Calling is their payoff, I probably lose. Not sure. Okay. Here comes the company. This is their spell for the turn. Does it kill me? They got Heliod and Ranger Cap. Ranger Cap gets to search for the Walking Ballista. Okay. Alright, this might be navigable. Alright. Gonna cast Sword of Fire and Ice. Play Sacred Foundry tapped. I'm going to attack my opponent's life points directly. Then in their upkeep, I'm gonna flicker the Devoted Druid. I guess doing it now, is that the same as doing it in their upkeep? Yeah, doing it now, it ends up coming back in the same upkeep, or in the same end step as if I did it in their upkeep. And right now they can't cast spells, so yeah, it's time to do this. So they can't cast spells right now. They are dead to my flyers. I guess they can give something lifelink. They can still cast a regular ballista for 3, which is pretty powerful. But Sword of Fire and Ice is going to be good for... So, yeah, they can't actually... So if they kill me this turn... Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, the Druid's going to come back with Summoning Sickness, so they can't just make Ballista and XX Infinity. Oh, they just... Oh, the Pendelhaven is how they shortcut this. Okay. Yeah, now they give Walking Ballista lifelink and I'm dead. Okay. Yeah, I missed that. It was on board. Pendelhaven was what I missed. Normally it costs... Wait, could they have just done it the hard way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Oh yeah, I was just dead on board. Fuck it. Yeah, they had me beat. In every direction. I tried. I guess if I should have gone after the Devoted Druid in response to the Vizier. When they cast Vizier, I should have flickered Devoted Druid at that point. Did I have the flicker at that point? I did, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, so extra search taxing. Heliod is an artifact, or an enchantment, not an artifact. Walking Ballista is an artifact. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards I'm thinking of bringing in. I don't think Magus of the Moon is helpful here. Arbiter's good. Thalia, I think, is actively bad here. And one more card's got to go. Might just be Giver. Though I am bringing in the Aether Vial plus Stony Silence non-bow. I think I'll shave an Aether Vial, bring Giver back in. With that in mind. Okay. Yeah, my opponent is doing something. The deck is laser focused at assembling its combo, and my deck is just trying to pinch in different directions. So this is probably, I would guess this is one of the tougher matchups without being an expert in the format, or this deck's position in the format specifically. A Path to Exile would have won last game compared to like Flicker Wisp. Like if I just passed Devoted Druid, they were never winning that. So I guess it was just how things lined up more than necessarily basing the whole matchup on what we saw last game. Ooh, the old not a forest arbor elf combo. And Skyclave Apparition is a big deal. That card would have also won the last game compared to Flicker Wisp, which did not. Alright, so you're going to get a forest to go with that Arbor Elf. Good idea. So is this probably Ranger Cap would be my guess, or Heliod? The Ranger Cap. So I'm in the position where Walking Ballista is just like a fine magic card against my deck, in addition to being their combo payoff. So I would very much like to draw a Leonin Arbiter for my turn. Come on, Arbiter. GG. Not necessarily GG, but that was definitely the draw I wanted. Arbiter, strip the forest, which is actually taking 2 mana off of them because of the Arbor Elf. Sunbaked Canyon's in. Alright, that was a good draw. Happy with that. Hopefully the Arbiter will provide meaningful pressure on the rest of their plan, like the Eladamri's calls and the Ranger Captains, etc. No attack either. I would have offered this trade all day. But then again, I'm not an expert with their deck. I'm sure they know what they're doing more than I do. So I can nut up my Leonin Arbiter with Maul, Sky Maul. I think that's worth doing. A flying first strike creature. Bought some time. Now let's get this game over. Alright, that's protected with Giver. I have Skyclave Apparition to break up anything they do. They missed their land drop last turn. Oh, attacking last turn wasn't even a trade because they have Pendlehaven for Arbor Elf. They could have just eaten. They missed a free attack last turn. Alright, they're taking it this turn though. Alright, finally remembered. Pendlehaven's in play. I could. Yeah, I guess I could have, probably should have, Apparition into the Ranger Captain and blocked Arbor Elf, and then I can give pro green and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I probably could have managed that combat better. I don't think it's going to matter, but that could have been done a lot more effectively. All right, get the second Aether Vial in. I can make that same play that I described last turn, this coming turn. I'm just a little worried that if I do that, then they'll sneak out a win somehow. Because they have at least 6 spells in hand. Alright, now I'm definitely going for it. They probably won't even make the same attack. They'll just attack with Ranger Cap. So 4, 5, 6. It actually does take a turn off the clock in a meaningful way, having Skyclave Apparition in play. So they're going to have to start chumping with their Arbor Elves, or just lose a turn off the clock. I could also give pro green so they can't chump with their Arbor Elf. There's the combo. Yeah, I'm just going to attack with both. Next turn I can make the pro green play for lethal. So right now, my decision points are, do I play this Stony Silence just in case they can do something with that Walking Ballista? Or do I hide Stony Silence so they don't board for it in game 2? And I'm pretty firmly on the hide it side. Like, I don't think I'm going to lose this game to a Walking Ballista. At least not this turn. I think that their entire draw is failing and they're just dead. A well-placed Ghost Quarter. I wonder how many fetch lands are in their hand, by the way, with these Leonin Arbiter on lockdown. But I guess they would run out the fetch lands just for if they ever do get 2 mana. So maybe they just missed on lands that whole game. All right, so do I want Magus of the Moon or not is the only question left to be answered here. They showed me black mana game 1 with an Overgrown Tomb, and I haven't seen what that's for yet. I assume they just have like Abrupt Decay or some shit. Do I care about that? If they put the Utopia Sprawl on a non-basic forest, I can knock off Utopia Sprawl with a Magus. But there's a good chance they boarded those out because I did show them game 1. I'm willing to fire off a Ghost Quarter to deny them that. And if they have infinite green, it doesn't matter anyway. So if I do bring it in, what am I taking out is the real question. No, I don't think Magus of the Moon will improve this deck in the matchup. Not more than any of the cards I already have. The one possible consideration is Aether Vial. Like, I could have taken out the 3 vials for the 3 Magi. This hand is not going to get there. On the draw, no play till turn 3. Well, here's this keep for science again. We've already been shown once that this science can betray us, but I think that this is just like the kind of hand that I'm supposed to be keeping. I could also just get dumpstered on turn 2 and it doesn't matter, but we'll find out soon. Drawing the second Ghost Quarter means that now I can Ghost Quarter a Ghost Quarter to get white mana, which is something, if the Aether Vial sticks around, might be worth doing. Whoa. Okay, they just didn't have a 3-drop. Okay, so now definitely representing the Path to Exile is worth doing. Represent I shall. And I'm going to hold up the Path rather than jam the Stoneforge Mystic because I don't want to just lose right now to a Vizier. If they attack with Arbor Elf again, I'm going to block so fast. Maniac, absolute maniac. Block. No such thing as a free lunch. That certainly felt like it. Right, Canyon versus Ghost Quarter. Does this matter? I guess my hand is pretty well set up to do everything it needs to do and still draw a card off Ghost Quarter. So, or off of Sunbaked Canyon. So that's where I'm going to go with it. So I can Vial in Stoneforge, get Sword of Fire and Ice. So I'm not going to draw a card right now. All right, so there's 2 options right now. I could Path to Exile this Devoted Druid right now. That'll force the issue on a Collected Company. Yeah, okay. I don't want them to Coco in combat, so I'm just going to path this right now, get it out of play. And then that'll let me know if the coast is clear to try to connect with Sword of Fire and Ice this turn. And the Flicker Wisp, Vial going up to 3 for Wisp right now, also a huge deal. All right, let's try to get in there. So they're either going to have Path to Exile or just take a big chunk here. Those are the only things their deck can do in this spot. All right, cool. If they go for Eladamri's Call, I have Censor. If they have some sort of onboard combo, I have Wisp. This is shaping up pretty nicely, actually. I could go for the aggressive Vial in Aven Mind Sensor, double Ghost Quarter next turn. Ranger Cap. Look at your top 4. Unless you have Abrupt Decay. Then look at your whole deck. Alright, they found Arbor Elf. That's not what they wanted, I promise. So this is no forever now. So now I could just go for the Savage GQs. I think I want to do that. Speed it up. I'm going to move my weapon over to Mind Sensor because that can fly, and now I can use Giver to protect my thing that's holding the weapon. I'm going to shoot the Arbor Elf. This game feels like it's under control at this point. Like, things could still go wrong, I'm sure. Like, my opponent is also playing a powerful modern deck, but this feels pretty good. Like an Arbiter next turn. Just having this Vial hanging out on the Flicker Wisp is really nice. Sword of Fire and Ice is doing what it's supposed to do. Alright, here's a Dangerous Collected Company. It could hit like Heliod plus the Spike, and then they have infinite life. That's their best hit. Oh, Heliod miss, wow. That's not what they wanted. Can I win right now? 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, they are actually dead on board. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, cool. Play to win. Let's go. And in we go. All right, Boros Taxes. 3 and 2 in the league. Magus to the Moon came up twice. GG's. All right, cool. 3 and 2, not bad for this. Not a bad showing. So, Magus to the Moon did come up twice. It won the games it came up. I guess it's not fair to say it won every game it came up because it was in my hand and I didn't play it a number of times, which makes me think it would probably be better as just more Flicker Wisps. What did come up is there was that one game against 4-color Omnath where I just bled myself out with Sunbaked Canyon and they killed me with Wrenn and 6 when I had most of their win conditions under control. So that was pretty embarrassing. Stretching the mana to accommodate red just for Magus of the Moon, I'm not sure is worth it, especially in a shell that these days is so good at pressuring land drops with Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin. So that's my take on Boros Hate Bears. That's how I would build it in present day Modern. But at the end of the day, I think you're probably better just playing mono white. Depending on if you just really want to play Boros or if you want to win the match and play this sort of game plan, mono white is where you want to be. So, Steven, thanks for the challenge. It was fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Remember, if you want me to play your deck or give me a challenge, you can contact me. Just my contact info is in the video description below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.